acceleration and the gear shifting is insane. It's really crazy. So I got it in sport mode, so you can hear a little bit of a wheel spin there, but it was able to keep it straight with the traction control. I don't have the traction control off or anything, partially because it just finished raining a little while, so the roads aren't completely dry, so I don't want to, you know, spin tires and stuff too much and try to keep it straight. Here's starting to drizzle a little bit. But man, does it feel glued to the road. You know, like I can handle these curves much faster than the speed limit, I'll just say that. And it just feels solid and sticking to the road and no leaning. Now, it has a very stiff suspension, so you feel all the bumps in the road and everything. But yeah, it is legitimately driving a race car on the road, basically, with the Nismo especially. So yeah, it's a very exhilarating feeling. It sounds like... It just sounds like you're similar to an off-road vehicle that you drive on road. If you want to just go off-road and you're like feel like you're limited because you're on the road, you know, this feels like you're just like super limited because you're around other cars and you have speed limits and all that stuff. You just want to let it loose, right? The engine wants to rev and the transmission wants to shift, and you know, before you know it, you're blowing right past the speed limit if you're not careful. And so yeah, it just really wants to go on a track and a curvy road or oval track or something like that. At the very least, you know, just like a straight, you know, just a wide open straightaway type racing scenario. Maybe like an old airplane, you know, runway or something like that. It just feels like you want to take it somewhere and just let it loose, because it, you know, even at high speeds, you don't really feel like you're going fast. There's always more pedal, it feels like, and it just feels so stable at high speeds that it just doesn't feel like you're going that fast. Very impressive vehicle with the Nismo, especially. All the Z's to me are very impressive. The Nismo, the seat is a little bit, you know, more confining for me anyway, but it's all right once I get in place and, you know, start driving. I wouldn't want to take it on a long trip with these seats or anything, but, you know, it's fine for most, you know, daily driving and stuff like that. Yeah, that transmission, I don't know if you're familiar with like an old vehicle that you put like a shift kit or something in it. It just feels like it just wants to punch forward and very impressive. In the sport mode, you just drive it. You just try to drive it easy, and it feels like you're racing. You know, even in regular mode, you know, it's like put it in standard mode here. It still feels like you're driving a race car on the road, and it's like, you know, why aren't you going faster? You know, the vehicle's like, hey, you know, we're going too slow. We need to really get out here. You know, starting to get some more rain here, but just want to point out or just mention that if you haven't driven a Z, some of the things that you'll experience in the Nismo especially is that razor sharp steering, in addition to the fast shifting transmission and the acceleration and all that stuff. But the steering is like super razor sharp, so it's very, very precise. You know, the ratio is very little movement in your you know, you're moving the vehicle basically. You have that 12 o'clock position red line. This will be more for tracking, you know, tracking when you're on the track, and you kind of have a visual reference there as you're driving. Also, the braking is so powerful. Like it's almost unbelievable how fast you can bring this vehicle to a stop. The Nismo has 420 horsepower and 384 pound-feet of torque, which is up significantly. Now, it also only has an automatic transmission. You can't get the manual transmission option in the Nismo. Instead of the carbon fiber drive shaft like the sport and performance models, the Nismo has the steel. So the weight reduction from the carbon fiber is not going to happen with the Nismo because it needs that additional strength for the additional power. There's also enhanced engine cooling. So it has a regular radiator, but it also has a sub-radiator, a smaller additional radiator for additional cooling in the front of the vehicle. It has larger, more high-performance braking system. So the rotors are larger, they're also ventilated,
and then it shares the same braking system with the Performance, with a 4-piston caliper in the front, 2-piston in the rear. A little bit wider wheels front and back, and they are a forged aluminum alloy, so it's very strong and very durable and very light. The tires are also upgradable. They are trackable. Like, you can take them on the track. They're very sticky, very high performance Dunlop tires. The entire suspension system of the vehicle has also been enhanced for track use. So the steering, the suspension, the tires, the braking system, everything, the chassis, everything has been enhanced to handle track use. It has a larger rear spoiler back here, so a 3-piece, so it extends over each side of the vehicle. It's kind of blended in because it's the same color, but you can see here it does have additional downforce here on the back. And it kind of has these little corner spoilers here on the front, adding additional downforce in the front corners. This helps out with high-speed cornering and just overall keeping the front of the vehicle down. Now, it has these Recaro seats, and typically Recaro seats are a little bit too much intrusive bolsters. This one's actually fairly comfortable for me. So not only does it keep me in my position very firmly, but it's not like uncomfortable. It's not overly uncomfortable to sit in these seats for a long period of time, like other ones that I've sat in. When you start the vehicle, it has these little graphics here. It says Nismo. And basically the screen here is about the same as the Performance. There are different options there that I showed you that you can set up different views. And steering wheel is about the same. So it has the suede, but it also has this little red line here at the top, giving you the 12 o'clock position of the steering wheel, which is pretty cool. We also have some red accents over here for the start button. These are like an anodized aluminum, really nice. And there's the different drive modes there. And this one has the Sport Plus, which is the exclusive Nismo drive mode. And it shifts crazy fast. So that's not for normal driving. Standard is actually pretty good. It smooths out the shifts and makes it, you know, just a normal drive more pleasant. The track type features the vehicle has is really fun to drive and everything, but you know, if you're just driving normally, you wouldn't need to use those. I really like these seats. It has that red in the middle, suede in the center, suede here on the door. And this is an Alcantara suede. It's overall a really nice vehicle. Yeah, there's a lot of overlap as far as just the regular usability of the vehicle, other than the manual, the automatic transmission versus manual. The Performance that I drove a few weeks ago is, you know, using the vehicle, it's about the same. So I'm going to go ahead and put it in sport mode and just accelerate so you can see how fast the transmission shifts. A few weeks ago I drove the manual transmission and it's really fun to drive, but the automatic transmission is technically faster, and also this automatic transmission option in the Nismo is shifts way faster than the other trim. So see what it sounds like here. Yeah, it shifts way faster than a manual transmission for sure. So one of the things about the Nismo, it has a Sport Plus drive mode under the drive mode selector here, which gives it the absolute maximum that the vehicle can put out, basically. When you're driving in normal drive mode, you can tell the transmission's more subdued. It doesn't like try to shift as fast, and it's just like a normal driving experience, I guess. When you put it in the different drive modes here, so like especially Sport Plus, man, does it just really feels like a totally different transmission. I'm just gonna drive slow. It just wants to punch you forward every shift. And you can really tell it slow or fast, but slow it just kind of makes you tell the difference here when you put it in that Sport Plus. So yeah, the drive modes do make a big difference with the transmission and the way it shifts. It's very impressive when you put it in for Sport Plus, when you want all that power. You know, if you're just driving normally, it's not a big deal. It might be a little annoying because it's like surging the vehicle forward every time it shifts. So the normal drive mode really does smooth that out. To me, the paddle shifters, they're good when you want to control the transmission, but the actual automatic transmission does a better job. But I'll just kind of show you what it's talking about here. See how fast the shifts are? It's incredible how fast they are. So I'm not like trying to go real fast or anything. I just want you to see how it shifts when you do the paddle shifters in the Sport Plus mode. It's just as fast as the actual transmission, but it of course you have to have practice in order to match the level of the software and the transmission to shift it and make it go as fast as it can go. But if you need that control, especially if you're cornering or something like that, the engine braking, you want to hang on to the rev, that kind of stuff, then you can of course use the paddle shifters.